My unsolicited advice on the radio yesterday was for him to block all of that out and remember that he turns 24 years old today. Peyton Manning won his first playoff game when he was 27, and that all turned out okay. But that said, Damien Woody, how much pressure is on Lamar Jackson Sunday?
Well, I mean, listen, clearly he's thinking about it, but listen, I'm bullish on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. It seems like the Baltimore Ravens have found their groove again. Greg Roman and company, with all the injuries that they've sustained on the offensive side of the football, they finally figured this thing out. And over the last 5 games, they've rushed the ball for more yards than any team in NFL history. So you're talking about going into the tournament with momentum. They found it because there's not a weapon in the National Football League more deadly than Lamar Jackson. I can tell you right now, the Tennessee Titans should be petrified of this rushing attack that the Baltimore Ravens are going to be bringing to the table.
Yeah, what do you think, Nick? You're a former Raven. You sort of live in the general area, so you hear some of maybe the more local noise. What do you think of the pressure on him?
Yeah, I mean, I think the pressure is incredibly high, not just because of his 2 playoff losses, but because he is the centerpiece of that offense. I think no team asks more of any one player than the Ravens ask of Lamar Jackson to carry that offense. I think that he will play well, and he'll kind of put the rest, the narrative that he's talking about, in part because he's great and that team is really good, but also because the Titans are really bad. And I know Himbo doesn't like people texting me answers to the question, but he texts me answers to the questions all the time. Just like he just texted me that the Titans defense is the 2nd worst by efficiency in the last 15 years. So that's a pretty easy target for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to go up against. I'm looking forward to Lamar playing this game on ESPN, and then in the post game, just like in that Monday night game, Lisa Salter is going to interview him. He's going to say some answers and then hit us with a "thank you, Miss Lisa," which is my favorite play Lamar Jackson has had all season.
To remind you, again, he is 24 years old today. Go ahead, Schefter.
Well, you raised an interesting point about the fact that Peyton Manning didn't win his first playoff game until he was 27. And that got me thinking that John Elway didn't win his first playoff game until his 4th or 5th season in his league. But I think when John Elway played, and even when Peyton Manning was starting out, it was a little bit different in terms of the noise that was made. If Lamar Jackson loses this game and goes to 0-3, can you imagine what the offseason chatter and questions will be about his postseason performance? They will be multifaceted. It will go on and on. The conversation about him failing to come through in the postseason will take on a life of its own, whether it's fair or not. That's the world we live in. And so there is a lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson to win this game from that standpoint. And how about from the other standpoint, too? Last offseason, after the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes, 3 years into his career, got a new contract extension. Deshaun Watson, 3 years into his career, before the season began, got a new contract extension. Lamar Jackson is eligible for a new contract for the first time in his NFL career after this season. Do you think it's better to go to the bargaining table at 0-3 in the postseason, or better to go to the bargaining table, as Joe Flacco showed in Baltimore, with an extended postseason run? So there is a lot at stake for Lamar Jackson. He can quiet all the offseason noise and make himself an awful lot of money with a win this weekend. And the further he goes in the playoffs, the better it's going to be for him.
Okay, that part of it I cannot argue with. The financial part of it obviously does make a lot of sense. But I will just continue to remind everyone, he turned 24 years old today. To expect everything in the world from him right now might not be realistic. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.